think. We're coming from the heart of Hollywood today. We're talking about violence in our movies, internet, TV shows, video games. Do they really influence the youth of America? Well, we're going to take a look. We're going to speak with some interesting people today. People just like yourself. People like myself. People that have given thought to this. What can be done about the violence in the movies, the TV shows, video games, or is it just a figment of our imagination? Stay tuned right here on What the People Think. This is Percy C. Payne. Here on a beautiful holiday. It's Academy Award Sunday, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes.
We're out here on beautiful Hollywood Boulevard. I'm talking to.
That's right. That's right.
There's a Laker fan out there.
That's right.
Hey, by the way, what do you think about them Lakers?
Man, the Lakers say we destined champions. You know, we just got work to do. Like anything else, if you want to get something, you got to work for it. So everybody who want ice cream and cake, y'all get that. But we want gold and diamonds. So we know we have to work hard to get it. So this is where we at right now. It's gonna come.
So you got your Laker jacket out here on this Hollywood, this Academy Award.
With my boy JB, Jerry Buss, rest in peace.
Okay, Jerry Buss. All right, the great Jerry Buss, the Laker owner.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now Frank, we're talking about. I just grabbed you. We're going down minding your own business.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
Percy C. Payne for What the People Think. We're talking about. Before you look at all those stars down there, the Academy Awards are coming here dressing up nice clothes, beautiful women.
Right.
We're talking about movies and violence and how does it affect the youth of our nation? Does it affect the youth of our nation? And also we're talking about those game shows. You know, the video games.
Yes,
My
sir.
son right there, he loves them video games. He don't play them that much though, because now he's into music. But I'm glad.
Yes,
but a
sir.
lot of kids, they just go into these video games, man, and they just it seems like they take a hint and they don't understand that there's a difference between reality and a game.
Right.
Do you think these movies and TV shows have any effect on the youth of our land? Look in the camera, tell us, Frank.
Oh, yes, sir. You know, it definitely has an effect on our youth today. It's reading our criminals today. It's reading personality today. You know, what you say, artificial insemination to the children's brain to be killers, to be robbers, to be gangsters, you know, because the black male has been put out of the home, or the male, as you want to say, the man has been taken out of the home. So it's not a God-fearing man has been taken out of the home, so he can't be guided on the right way to get the information to be transmitted in the youngster's brain. This is right and this is wrong. So we got videos and you have TV saying this is okay and people clapping their hands and they making great scores on these video games and stuff. They can't depict and differentiate the difference between reality and falsehood. So when they hit the streets and they have these guns and stuff and they shooting guys down and they go back to the neighborhoods, they all happy what they did and they, you know, clapping their hands on the kill and things of this nature. This is building macho type of attitude, personality in our neighborhood, especially in South Central, Compton, Watts. These youngsters is basically just, I don't know where they're getting the guns from, but you know they got them, and you know they're sort of cocky with them because we don't have. It's on everybody. It's not just on the video games. We need our church leaders to get involved. You know, the people in the community to get involved. You know, we need everybody to get involved because, yeah, it has a major effect. We should say no and, you know, guide video games.
So you're saying when you say guide, you mean some kind of regulation of sort, or what are you talking
about? It has to be a regulation on video games because. You know, it's like spilled milk. Look around you. What you mean you don't need a guide on video games when you got people going in, like in Colorado, spraying people for no reason?
So, you know, in fact, that came from a movie. I think it was a movie that the guy had the idea. They say it was a Batman movie. This is public information. And that was one particular point where people said there was a problem.
Yes, well, you know, movies, you know, a movie is a script. So people are making scripts. So someone is basically, you know, pushing these scripts on our peoples that's controlling this kind of environment.
You think it's intentional?
Yeah, I really do because I really do feel that that's intentional. Me being a black man raised in America, you know, born and raised in South Central LA, you know, a victim of Ronald Reagan area with the crack cocaine with Freeway Rick. I got 3 bullets in me. You know, we're seeing the corruption of LAPD, the sheriff department, you know, getting drugs to the youth in the community, you know, and you're getting away with it why youngsters go to jail, catching the beef.
So what you're saying is you think some of that could be intentional. That's the point I want to make sure I'm hearing from you. With the movies, with the influence of the violence.
It's influence when youngsters don't have any jobs. And you have influences like movies like Get Rich or Die Trying. What you think a youngster's gonna do if he don't have food on his plate and he got some keep on his TV screen say, "Get rich, die trying," and then at the end of the movie, the guy get rich. You know what I mean? And comes,
he gets rewarded. He gets rewarded for that kind of.
For being a gangster. You know what I'm saying? You know it's Hollywood. You know, it's like Rambo and all that. You know, everybody got to be macho. But they say macho in one way, but then when they all come down, they cry about the effect of it.
So, Frank, you sound like a man with a lot of emotions and a lot of feelings about the subject.
Yes, sir.
You said you've been injured yourself by it.
So I got 3 bullets in me. I was shot up in South Central LA, in the environment of drugs being built in our communities. You know, with Freeway Rick, I was part of that whole crew with Ronald Reagan, economics, Oliver North. You know, the Contras. Drugs coming down from
So basically, you've been a victim of it. You've been a victim of it.
Weapons. Matter of fact, they traded weapons for the youth to get the weapons in the black community for the crack cocaine.
Okay, so this is something that you feel like very strong about it, and you want the people to know. So you're right here.
This is the divine stop. I was minding my own business. These type of things always been in my heart to get these things out because, like I say, I am a victim. I'm a black man in America. I'm a survivor. I'll be 52 March 4th next year.
You're doing good for 52, bro.
And my young brothers that I'm experienced of being a survivor, I'm telling you, hey, do the right thing. Stay focused on the Lord and pray and get out of these video games and study, man. Let's get some money and get some of this land and take care of our families.
I love what you said about focus on the Lord, man. That's so rich and so wonderful. You're a Christian man, too.
Yeah, you can say I'm a Christian man, but my faith is Muslim. Obviously, you can see how I speak. I learned something under the teacher, Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Miss Louis Farrakhan.
So what you're saying, you're a man of peace?
Yes, sir. I'm a man of peace. I'm a Muslim. I'm a man of peace. People all walks of life, Christian, Jew, no matter who you say you are. You're a man of peace who should establish this peace and do God's work on earth and quit counting down to this devil and stand up and do God's work.
Okay, we thank you for being on What the People Think.
Yes, sir.
God bless you. I hope that these Lakers, for your sake, get a little bit better.
What's up, baby? Champions this year, baby. They don't believe in us, but I know.
How about those Clippers now? You got to give them some love.
Hey, my JV team. Keep it up. If we don't make it.
JV, wait a minute. You can't do this. You cannot do
championships. This is the JV team. Until they get
Chris Paul, we got Blake Griffin, we got Eric
Griffin, Blaysaw. Hey, man, this LA, man. You know how we do it, man. Hey, Chris Paul, I thank you for all the things that you're doing in Griffin. Hey, man, if y'all do it, man, I'm cheering for y'all. It's LA, man.
All right, God bless, brother. God bless you, God bless you. Thanks so much. Percy C. Payne for What the People Think. We want to again thank my friend for having so much to say about this controversial topic, violence in our movies, in our schools, and there's some people behind me protesting now right now. We're on the Academy Award afternoon. People are coming out looking for stars, and we're stopping people along the way, just finding out, does the movies and the television and the video games have an influence on the youth of America? Stay tuned for What the People Think. Percy C. Payne for What the People Think. I'm speaking with
Bridget.
Bridget, we're talking about the movies, TV shows, the media in general, and video games. Do you think every time something happens, people say, well, they're too crazy, man. These youth, they're looking at too much crazy stuff. Do you think that influences the youth? And if so, what can be done about it? Look at the camera. Tell What the People Think audience about it.
I believe it does. It has a lot of influence towards people. I mean, especially young children. It, creates their mind. It pretty much does, Everything little kids see, they want to do. So I think it has a big influence.
Okay, so you think it has a lot of influence, not a little bit?
A lot of influence on what they see, because most people, little kids, whatever they see on TV, they want to do. So, of course it does. I believe it does.
So what can be done to affect the younger kids? Because always as a younger kid, seems like, involved in this. What can be done to help steer them away from that?
I mean, parents need to watch out and, kind of control what their kids are watching on TV, or, they play on games, movies. They have to control all that.
Do you think kids how are they getting these movies? Some people told me, hey, they cost $50. How are these kids getting their hands on all this money to get these crazy games? Some of them are not so peaceful.
Right. You know, just TV. Just flipping a channel, it's on TV. So we got to be really careful with that parental guidance, right?
And do you think anything should be done by legislation or whatever to make it a little bit more difficult for these people to just come out and put anything on TV in terms of violence?
I mean, I think it has to do a lot more with the parents. Okay. Watch what their kids are watching and just take care of them, you know. But put a lot of restrictions on TV. I know they have some restrictions on TV, so they should do that.
Yeah, because I believe in letting people say what they want to say. But now when it comes to violence, I believe, hey, if that's going to influence other kids personally, we should step in it. Maybe we have some parenting classes. You think we need some parenting classes?
I think we should. I mean, it's always good to learn, right? Good to learn, shape up your kids. So.
Yeah, I never had a parenting class. But
I've never had one either, but you know, I'm actually expecting right now. So
oh, really?
I'm gonna take a couple parenting classes there.
Well, that's a good idea because we take everything else. Math, they make it a requirement to take English, math, but what about parenting?
Right, parenting classes are really important. You're shaping up your kid's mind, and I think it's a good idea to brighten up your kid's mind and not with all that junk of killing and, you know, dark movies and everything like that.
So is it first child?
Yes, it is.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
So Bridget, right here on What the People Think, we are getting a parent-to-be. And she says that we need to clamp down on the parents need to have parenting classes. That's a good one. I vote 100% for that.
Right.
We're going to make it a part of the high school curriculum, right?
We should. We really should.
All right, God bless you, Bridget. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Japanese culture generally absorbs more violent television and more violent video games, and they do not have the level of gun violence that we have in this country. And the reasons are cultural, but it's also they don't have any guns. So I think if you really want to really stop what's going on, which is mainly crime that is going on with handguns between people who know each other. Most of the homicides and the gun violence go on with pistols. So I mean, you know, we get very reactionary and we think, all right, let's pull all the assault weapons off the street. That certainly would be something that the police and everybody would like because they don't really like coming up against those weapons. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with regulating gun ownership. I own a gun. And I think that most reasonable people would come to the conclusion that really the peripheral stuff, yes, it may affect some people adversely. Some people may get charged up or get the adrenaline going. My son plays violent video games. I have no concern of him going out and grabbing a gun and killing people. So, you know, everybody is trying to deflect this onto the mental health issues, which they are real. Those need to be dealt with. The violence in the media, it's been there. We've been having this discussion for as long as I've been alive. They used to say it was comic books or other things, and now we point our fingers there because we really don't want to deal with the real issue, which is cultural and has to do with the number of guns.
Now, when you say culture, Mark, you touched on something there. Does that mean it has anything to do with the United States' right to bear arms? When you say culture, could you speak on that?
Yes, I think it does have to do with the Second Amendment, which everybody tends to point to the second part of the Second Amendment, which is the right to bear arms will not be, at all limited by the government. But the first part of the amendment talks about a well-regulated militia. So when somebody shows me a well-regulated militia, I'll say, yeah, you know, you guys get to keep your guns. The history on this is really interesting, the way it portrays. It goes back to slavery. It goes back to the fear of slave revolts in the South. The people who were pushing for the Second Amendment wanted people to be able to have guns because they were, quite frankly, afraid of slave revolts.
Mark, what do you think about the people that say, okay, they want to try to take our guns? This is what you're hearing. And then they say, we have a Second Amendment, like you just mentioned, right. It goes back from the beginning of our Constitution. Well, how are you going to keep the guns out of the hands? Sure, if you're going to take them out of the hands of the bad guys. How are you going to speak to those to that?
Well, okay, look, we have laws, and we don't say, hey, because a lot of people rob banks, we're not going to pass any laws against people robbing banks because, you know, everybody's doing it anyway. It's a ridiculous argument. If people are going around shooting people, yes, you have to limit. You have over 10,700 gun deaths in the country a year. That is deplorable. It is absolutely deplorable. And when you go, I have traveled overseas, people look at this country and they think that this country is violent and dangerous. And
it gets back to the videos and the movies and the games and that part of it. And then, like you said, some people think it's people that are on mental issues that have, history.
I think it's all deflecting from the real issue, which I think is guns and violence. And
so if you were running the show, you were calling the shots. People want that right. How would you fairly handle it, because they do want to be protected in their homes?
The same way you handle cars and gun registration, cars and licensing and registration. You have to take a class. You have to show that you know how to operate the weapon. You have to be qualified to have the weapon. You have to register the weapon. You bring in your car every 2 years to have it inspected. You bring in a weapon. Make sure, hey, you're still in possession of this weapon. I have a registration for this weapon. Here it is. It's a privilege to own a weapon in this country. It's a privilege.
So basically what you're saying is you wouldn't necessarily take it away from the people, but make sure they have classes, know how to operate the thing, and then we know that you still have the potential firearm, so no gangbanger or whoever will get it. Is that what you're saying?
Maybe in about 30 or 40 years you start to make a dent in the problem, because there's so many illegal guns on the street. And the other thing, obviously, is close up the gun show loopholes so that you don't have 40% of the guns selling without background checks.
Mark, you sound like you're so educated on this particular problem. You're giving it a lot of thought. You got a lot of thought.
I have. You have stopped somebody who has very, very strong feelings about this, and I've been supporting the Brady Bill for many, many years, and have been in support of stricter gun control. And I don't, like I said, I own a gun. I don't see why responsible people should not be qualified to own a gun.
Academy Awards Sunday, or shall I say a Sunday that they're having Academy Awards. It's in beautiful Hollywood, California. What do people think? I see the young man here with a beautiful girl here, his daughter, obviously, and he's out here taking her to the Academy Awards, I guess. But tell me, your first name?
Paul.
Paul, we're talking about movies, since today is a day about movies, and we're talking about also video games, and we're talking about violence in the community, and all over some parts of the country. Every now and then we see an event happening.
Right.
Okay, do you think, the question is on what the people think, do you think it's part of the movie industry, the TV industry, the video game industry? Do you think they should scale back? Some people think they should. Or do you think it's some other issues that we're not even broaching? Look in the camera and tell us.
I think honestly that it's really all on the parents' heads right now, because most of these people that are complaining about video games and movies don't spend any time with their kids. I'm not afraid of my daughter seeing anything because she knows everything's fake on TV. I'm a visual effects artist myself, so I've worked in both the video game and the film industry.
So you get a lot of blame for this. How does that make you feel? Go ahead.
Well, all the facts are on my side. Because
tell the people some of the facts that maybe we're not aware of.
Well, when you see complaints about Grand Theft Auto or all these games where all these people get killed and shot, every single one of these games has a mature rating. What are these kids doing playing these games?
Okay.
Where are they getting them from? Who's buying them these games? Who's letting them watch an R-rated movie? It has nothing to do with the film industry. These movies are made for people like me, for adults. These video games are made for and by people like me. Not kids.
Okay, but then you see these kids just raving over certain titles, and it seems like the advertising sometimes is going toward the kids. So how do you think there should be a compromise there? Go ahead, tell us. I think the marketing department and the people that actually give them the ratings from, do you think some kind of...
I think more of the responsibility should fall on the store owners.
Okay.
Why are they selling these games to kids? Sure, there's some responsibility that has to be taken by Hollywood or by the game companies, sure, but not as much as people want to blame.
Okay, so you think it's more or less the parents should be first of all instructing their kids to be careful before they purchase these titles that could be questionable.
They should not be purchasing these titles, period.
And secondly, you think the store owners, like something like alcohol, they have to show an ID or something. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. You wouldn't let a kid walk in and buy a beer. Why would you let them walk in and buy an R-rated movie? Or
now they can.
Sure.
There's no regulations.
Well, there is some. I think if you go to a store, I don't think the problem is kids going and buying these games. The problem is because these games are $50 a piece.
That's true.
So, I mean, it's not the kids that are buying these games. It's the parents that are buying them for their kids because they're too lazy to raise their kids.
You know, you got a beautiful lady here now, so you spend a lot of time evidently with her. In other words, you're a man of your word.
I am.
So how hard is it to be a parent today with the internet?
I have a good example. She wants to see Hunger Games.
Okay.
All of her friends in school have seen Hunger Games. This is last year, obviously.
Tell us about Hunger Games. What's it about?
Well, you know, there's a lot of, I guess you could say, child-on-child violence.
Okay.
Because there's a bunch of kids being thrown together, and the last one standing wins, or whatever. I haven't seen it. But I would not let her see it, even though all of her friends had, because it's not rated for her.
So that's an example of a responsible parent who works in the visual arts industry, and you're telling me that you believe that even you take a stand.
Of course, I have to. I can't sit here and be a hypocrite and say, oh, you shouldn't buy your kids Grand Theft Auto and then let her play Grand Theft Auto.
So that's a beautiful example.
Right.
And we recommend other parents take such steps.
All parents should be doing that. You know, the TV they count on the TV too much. They count on the video games too much. You know, raise your kids. Spend some time with them.
That's so beautiful. So again, we're talking with Paul. And Paul right here in Hollywood on Academy. By the way, who's your favorite movie this year?
I'm going to go with Life of Pi.
But everyone wants the Man of Lincoln, or is it the Lincoln?
Life of Pi.
What that movie? Is it a comedy, drama? Tell us what.
Life of Pi.
What about it that you like that it stands out? Is it acting or what?
It's the acting and the visual effects. I'm actually here as a protester.
Okay.
Because The Life of Pi was a great movie, beautiful movie, could not have been made without the visual effects, and the company that did the visual effects just filed for bankruptcy.
Oh no.
And the movie's made $580 million already worldwide.
So the effect of the protest is basically, in a nutshell, what? We don't want to get anybody in trouble, or you yourself?
I understand. No, basically, you know, we've been doing this for 20 years or more. We're not unionized. We have no representation. So we're the lowest guy in the poll, and in some cases we get nothing. You know, a lot of these people that work on these movies, you know, the CD royalties, the DVD royalties, they pay for all of their benefits, health insurance, retirement. We have none of that. We don't get any.
So basically, the protest is the people that made millions of dollars.
Billions of dollars.
They've gone out of business.
The company that did the Tiger and all the visual effects for the movie just filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
So that affects you in a way that you don't get residuals?
Oh, none of us get residuals. We don't get any benefits from the movies we make at all.
So therefore, the protest.
We're done. We're fed up. Yes.
So what can be done in your case?
Because catering gets more of a representation than we do.
So what can be done in your case is what I'm saying. You're letting the world know now that you're not happy with this. What can be done with your group, your category of workers in the industry, in the entertainment industry?
We need to unionize.
You just think so?
I think we do. I think we're at the point now where, because we're the lowest guy, we're not represented at all. We don't get any benefit from the movies that we make at all. And it's even worse. People will be working 16-hour days, 30 days straight, and not be getting paid overtime.
Okay, we're talking Hollywood here just for 1 second about unionized, because that's a touchy subject here in Hollywood. Let me ask you a question, even among actors and performers. Some want to do work, we don't want to do work. But let me ask you a question about unionized. If you were unionized today, or a year ago, before this movie happened, how would that have helped your plight? Tell us. How do you think it would have helped your plight?
Well, what we would hope is a lot of these jobs wouldn't be going up to Canada, to India, China. You know, a lot of these jobs would stay here where they're made. A lot of the talent that right now is starving for work, literally starving in some cases, have no chance of finding any work because all the jobs are either heading up north or heading overseas.
So the unions could prevent some of that?
Well, see, that's the hope. But I don't know if a union could do that. But I think what the union could help with is some of the more decent benefits, like retirement funds, getting health care.
Oh, I see, the basics.
Health care basics. We're not talking about, stealing everything. We just want the basic, health and
retirement, something like
stuff.
that.
Yes.
Probably wages too. Somewhere.
Oh, well, wages is way up there.
All right, God bless you, Paul. Thank you for your time. I know we were talking on Academy Award Day, and I know you want to get on with your business, your protests, and seeing the movies. God bless you. The little lady, what grade is she in?
She's in 4th.
I'm sure she's proud of Dad.
Yeah.
She's a beautiful little lady. God bless you, sir. Thanks for being on What the People Think. All right. Again, Percy C. Payne, we're talking with Paul, and we're talking with some beautiful people out here that, in his case, he has his daughter out here. He's spending some quiet time, some wonderful personal time with his daughter, even though he's partially working, he wants to make sure that he feels important about the subject we're talking about, violence in the movies and the video games in the industry. Does it really influence our kids? And he went on some other interesting things he had to say right here and what the people think about his particular portion of the industry. Thank you for watching What the People Think. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. This is Percy C. Payne for What the People Think. People think. Thanks for watching our show today from Hollywood. We're talking about movies, video games, and television, their influence upon the youth of America. What the people think about the media. Is it causing the youth to do things that they should not be doing? Again, this is Percy C. Payne from Hollywood for What the People Think.